The story opens on security footage behind a small-town bakery called Sweet Liberty. A limping German shepherd tracks a masked intruder across the alley, body low, gaze fixed, movements economical. The dog closes distance without wasted motion, clamps a controlled bite on the intruder's wrist, and forces the weapon to the ground. The man struggles, slips, and scrambles for the back door. The dog holds position between the door and the threat, not chasing, not barking, simply occupying the narrow line where entry becomes denial. The frame freezes on the dog's face, the telltale focus that belongs to training, not chance. Viewers expect a stray's panic or chaos. Instead, the posture reads as duty. The caption in Ethan's filing system labels the clip by date and time, nothing more. The bakery remains untouched. The intruder vanishes into the dark. What appears to be an attack resolves as prevention. The image lingers on loyalty misunderstood, waiting to be named. Hours earlier, daylight crowds stretch along Main Street. A knot of townspeople gathers at the bakery facade, voices tight and certain. They call the dog dangerous. A boy bends for a stone. Another follows. The first rock skitters across concrete and strikes the German shepherd's forehead. The dog does not lunge, does not bay, not even step forward. It recoils, then recenters against the wall with measured caution, watching entrances as if the crowd is noise and the doors are the mission. Accusations escalate. Someone swears the animal snapped at a passerby. Someone else insists a child was nearly bitten. Memory folds around rumor and hardens into consensus. From inside, Ethan emerges, apron dusted, eyes lined by early mornings and long years. He steps between the animal and the people. The second stone stops mid-air under his palm. The square hushes. He says the throwing ends now. The dog stays still, resolute, awaiting an order that never comes.
Ethan does not craft speeches. He uses short directives that end conflict quickly. He stands planted, shoulders squared, telling the crowd there will be no more stones. Some mutter about health codes and liability. Someone mentions a complaint thread online. A few peel away in irritation, the certainty of a shared grievance slipping without the theater of punishment. The dog's gaze never leaves the side entrance. Ethan notes the focus and catalogs it without language, the way bakers track proofing dough by habit rather than thought. He examines the shallow cut above the eye. It will clot. The shepherd's chest rises slow and deliberate. Sheriff Dale's cruiser pulls to the curb. Dale steps out, assessing faces and posture, weighing the balance between town expectations and one man's line in the sand. He asks if the animal belongs to anyone. No one answers. Ethan says the dog is staying until animal control arrives. The crowd disperses by degrees, unsatisfied. Sheriff Dale prefers problems that fit forms. A stray dog outside a business invites paperwork, not arguments. He asks Ethan for a summary. Ethan shares just enough. People threw stones, he stopped it. The animal hasn't moved from this wall. Dale watches the shepherd for a full minute. He sees the eyes, the leg that doesn't set right, the way the dog angles to cover both doors. He advises caution and promises a patrol loop. He leaves without writing a citation. The absence of a citation annoys those who expected one. Ethan returns inside and checks the front counter, the ovens, the day's prep. Outside, the shepherd realigns to the exact alignment he held before the interruption, as though human drama never mattered. A few customers slip in with disapproving glances and short orders. Ethan keeps his hands busy. The morning steadies. The dog remains. The pattern fixes itself in place, not noticed by those not looking for patterns.
Another rock. Not a crowd this time, just a single impatient hand trying to hurry a story toward the ending it prefers. The stone strikes the dog's shoulder. The shepherd takes the hit and resumes stillness. This confuses the thrower, who expects noise to confirm righteousness. Ethan steps out again and removes the thrower with a measured sentence and a steady stare. The moment flattens into awkwardness. Quiet returns as efficiently as it left. The dog's eyes settle on the front door, then cut to the alley gate and hold there. Ethan notes the shift and follows the line of sight. Nothing obvious waits in that direction. He files the detail beside 100 others, gathered in years of opening before dawn. He sees the aging sign, the tired trim, the little rituals that make a place reliable. He sees, finally, that the dog keeps seeing. The bakery remains ordinary to passers-by. To the shepherd, it is a post. Rewind. 3 weeks earlier, dawn begins with flour, water, yeast, and thyme. Sweet Liberty wakes before town. Ethan unlocks, flips lights, and moves through the quiet with practiced economy. The morning's dough rises in orderly rows. The ovens hum into readiness. Outside, a lean German shepherd lies along the wall beneath the awning, ribs written across its sides, right rear leg held wrong. Ethan pauses and weighs compassion against routine. He speaks a single word to send it away. The dog shifts just enough to keep both entrances in view. It does not ask, it does not plead. It waits and watches. Animal control receives a call. By the time the truck appears, the space under the awning is empty. Ethan shrugs and returns to the bench. The next morning, the dog is back in the same place, same line of sight, same calculation. A pattern is an argument. This one argues the dog is here on purpose.
Ethan's life reduces to measurable tasks: scale ingredients, shape to consistency, rest to structure, bake to finish. Loss altered the quiet, but not the sequence. He respects work that answers grief without announcements. Still, the shepherd's return adds a variable he cannot ignore. The dog never crowds customers. It never noses for scraps. It studies approach paths, head tilting when someone loiters too long near the side door. Complaints begin with small comments about discomfort and grow into warnings about danger. Ethan hears the customers out, nods at the right moments, and records none of it in his mind's ledger. He calls animal control again. Again, the dog disappears before arrival. He considers coincidence, then discards it. Coincidence does not hold a position with this level of precision. He tells himself he cannot feed a stray. He tells himself there are policies for this. He tells himself many things. The dog continues to keep watch. The hooded man appears on the far sidewalk for the first time. He lingers where he cannot be accused of trespass. He pretends to study a mural across the street, then angles his body toward the alley between buildings. The dog tracks him without moving its feet, just a small shift of attention. The man glances across and meets eyes not easily met. Something falters, then resets behind his face. He moves on with affected casualness. The encounter ends without words or proof, too thin for reports and too clear to ignore. Ethan wipes the counter and watches reflections in the glass. He sees how the shepherd recognizes intent rather than noise. The next morning, the man returns and aborts his route as soon as he notices the dog. Patterns congeal as quietly as dough becoming bread. The town continues to complain. The dog continues to process angles and times. The baker continues to pretend nothing is changing.
Rumor assumes tone and grows edges. People reframe uncertainty as threat. They say the dog lunged, though no one shows torn fabric. They say it growled, though no one records the sound. They prefer belief that confirms fear to evidence that questions it. Ethan listens and measures impact on business. He cannot ignore a line of customers who might choose another shop. He cannot ignore a living animal that refuses to leave his door. The tension stretches between practical duty and a responsibility that lacks a receipt. In the late afternoon, he notices the dog reposition to cover the side entrance exactly as a person shuts down for the day. He closes the register and watches the street empty.
The shepherd remains in place like a lock turned to a specific notch. Dusk brings out the habit of caution in everyone who knows small towns after closing. The dog does not alter its plan. It looks like assignment. Another pair of teenagers slows by the awning. They adopt the posture of people who want a story to impress friends. One palms a rock from the planter edging the sidewalk. The other laughs and pretends not to care. The throw arcs up and drops short. The second boy reaches for his own stone. Ethan's voice from the doorway stops both throws without volume. He gives them a task instead: carry trash to the bins and leave. They comply and vanish down the alley. The dog never moves from its position. It marks their exit and returns to scanning the door. Ethan locks up and walks to the curb. He tells himself this cannot continue. He tells himself policies exist for reasons. Then he unlocks and returns with a plastic container of water and a day-old croissant. He places them a few paces from the dog and steps back. The shepherd waits, then eats with careful discipline. The pattern deepens.
By the following week, complaint calls multiply. Carolyn insists the dog has frightened customers. Sandra adds that her students cross the street rather than pass the bakery. Sheriff Dale records statements without urgency. Ethan offers tired apologies he doesn't mean. Animal control promises another sweep, though everyone knows how it will end. The shepherd never leaves evidence of aggression, no snapped leashes, no teeth marks, only that same silent patrol between doors. Dale advises patience. Towns prefer outrage to resolution. The same faces that once bought bread now post warnings on local boards. Ethan finishes each morning's prep earlier, aware of eyes measuring how long the dog remains. It stays through sunrise, through heat, through slow afternoons. Ethan counts days the way the town counts rumors. The dog's persistence becomes the measure of both their stubbornness. Something watches the bakery and something watches back. Neither side knows yet who is protecting whom. The rhythm of work continues, though quieter. Ethan kneads dough as if the repetition could drown out murmurs through the window. He watches reflections instead of customers, noting who points toward the wall where the shepherd lies. He cannot decide whether anger or pity weighs heavier. The phone rings twice that morning. Another complaint, another warning. Animal control agrees to send someone later. Later never arrives. The afternoon's deliveries come and go. The heat rises. The dog shifts only to reestablish its line of sight to the side entrance. By dusk, Ethan opens the door to tell it to leave, words already hollow before they reach air. The dog glances once, unafraid, then resumes its post. Ethan mutters that it can stay until morning. That small surrender changes nothing visible, yet it alters the tone of everything. Inside, ovens cool. Outside, a soldier continues a mission no one assigned but him.
The vanishing begins. Every time animal control schedules a capture, the shepherd disappears hours before. The empty patch under the awning becomes part of the routine. The agents arrive, inspect the alley, and mark no sighting. They leave, and by afternoon, the dog is returned, unhurried. Ethan wonders if the sound of the truck carries farther than he assumes. He wonders if the animal understands authority better than any human expects. The town interprets the disappearances as proof of guilt. Ethan interprets them as intent. At closing, he finds himself pausing to check where Max lies. Each evening, the posture repeats, head lifted, eyes on both doors, body still except for the injured leg that shifts when balance demands. Routine thickens until he can't remember when it started. The dog has become as much a fixture as the sign, the bell, the smell of bread cooling in trays. He tells no one he stopped calling the pound. One evening, a figure appears again across the street, the same lanky frame beneath a hoodie despite the heat. The man lingers, phone in hand, pretending to read messages. The dog's attention tightens.
Ethan, busy cleaning, notices only the stillness, the way every line of the shepherd's body converges on one direction. He follows the gaze and sees the man pivot, look up, and freeze. The recognition is mutual, but unbalanced. The man departs with sudden purpose. Ethan watches him go until he vanishes around the hardware store corner. The dog relaxes exactly 10 seconds later. Ethan can't prove anything. He knows the story would sound paranoid if told aloud. Still, he logs the time mentally. He will check the cameras later. When he does, the lens shows what he expects: a man, a glance, a retreat. The dog's instincts fill the gap where community vigilance should exist. For the first time, Ethan feels less alone.
The heat wave expands, pressing down on the town until even tempers slow. Max remains beneath the awning through each glare-bright afternoon, fur dulled by dust. Passers-by mutter that a sick animal should be put down. Ethan finds himself defending it with quiet authority. He tells them it doesn't bite, it doesn't beg, it simply stays. Some shrug, others look unconvinced. Sheriff Dale pauses during a midday patrol to check again. He notes that the dog's position hasn't changed in days and jokes that it might be made of stone. Ethan almost smiles. They both know better. Behind casual words hangs unease neither wants to name. Dale advises Ethan to keep his door locked at night. The sheriff leaves. The bakery's reflection in his windshield mirrors a dog standing guard. Routine drifts toward ritual. Ethan begins to believe the animal's persistence serves a reason beyond hunger or habit. He doesn't yet know what it guards against. The same hooded stranger reappears on a Wednesday morning, earlier this time. Max stiffens instantly, muscles coiled but silent. Ethan catches the movement while shaping loaves. He looks through the window and sees the man hesitate, eyes flicking toward the awning. The stranger crosses the street, glances once more, then turns down the alley and disappears. The encounter lasts less than a minute, yet Ethan's heart drags long after. He steps outside. The street looks unchanged, but something in the air carries aftermath. Max resumes position, breathing steady. Ethan studies the shepherd, the healed and broken symmetry of its body, the unflinching focus. He whispers without sound, asking what it knows. The dog offers no answer. Inside, timers beep, signaling ordinary tasks that feel newly fragile.
Ethan spends the next morning half watching the windows instead of Doe. Every unfamiliar passerby draws scrutiny. He wonders if paranoia can feel like protection. When Dale stops by for coffee, Ethan mentions the stranger casually. The sheriff's expression tightens a fraction, small enough to miss if one isn't looking. He promises extra patrols. No report is filed, no description shared. The town survives on unwritten arrangements. By afternoon, customers return to their usual complaints about taxes and weather. The shepherd remains invisible to conversation, visible to everyone's nerves. Ethan finds himself pacing between counter and door. He tells himself it's coincidence, but his eyes track the same street corner where the stranger first appeared. The dog doesn't look at Ethan. It studies the angle of sunlight, the reflection in the bakery glass, the world through invisible coordinates. Watching the watcher becomes habit for them both, each testing how long vigilance can last. Gossip turns meaner as boredom sets in. Someone posts a photo online of the shepherd crouched outside Sweet Liberty with the caption, "Town Menace." Others pile on. Within hours, the image collects dozens of comments demanding action. Ethan ignores them, deletes a few, and pretends he hasn't read the rest. He notices, though, that customers keep their distance even as curiosity pulls them to the window. Fear and fascination often share a pulse. Late that night, he closes the shop later than usual, expecting silence.
Instead, he finds a scrap of paper shoved beneath the door. Get rid of it before something happens. The handwriting is hurried, genderless, anonymous. Ethan folds it into his apron pocket and says nothing. Outside, Max remains at his station, eyes on the alley. The paper burns a shape into Ethan's thoughts. Threat or warning, it makes little difference when both carry truth. Something will happen soon.
Saturday evening brings two teenage boys testing boundaries. They linger near the awning with that charged stillness belonging to mischief. One grips a rock, tossing it from hand to hand. Ethan steps outside before the first throw. His presence cuts their courage. They mumble apologies and retreat, pretending indifference. The shepherd never moves, only tracks them until they vanish around the corner. Ethan returns inside, uneasy. He notices then how frail the animal looks beneath its steady gaze. The ribs, the matted fur, the limp that worsens with each rise. He locks the door, intending finality, then hesitates. Conscience outweighs convenience. He reopens, retrieves leftovers from the counter, and carries them outside. He sets food and water a few steps from the awning, telling himself it's temporary, humane, professional. The dog waits until he retreats before eating. Each slow bite rearranges something in Ethan's resolve. Tomorrow, he will decide what to do. Tonight, he watches instead. The sound of chewing ends. The shepherd lifts his head, eyes meeting Ethan's across the distance. Neither moves for several seconds. The understanding that passes isn't sentimental, it's procedural, as if each recognizes the other's routine. Ethan nods once, a gesture without meaning, except that it feels necessary. He leaves the containers where they are. Back inside, he closes the register and counts the day's earnings automatically. The numbers blur. He catches his reflection in the glass, an older man studying a guardian he didn't ask for. Outside, the dog repositions, gaze sliding between doors. The street empties, lights flicker off one by one, and the town settles into its practiced night. Ethan watches the animal through the closing minutes before midnight. Somewhere in the quiet, he admits the bakery feels safer now. The story others told has lost shape. Whatever danger they feared, it hasn't come from the dog. Not yet.
Ethan wakes before dawn, as always. He tells himself to focus on flour and timing, but the rhythm feels different. The image of the injured leg stays in his mind like a half-remembered lyric. When he steps outside, the shepherd lies where it always does, breath steady, eyes alert. Ethan kneels just close enough to study the wound. The leg twists at an angle too clean for accident, too old for new harm. He murmurs a comment to no one, then stands and leaves food again. Inside, he thinks about Diane, how she would have acted without hesitation. Her softness had balanced his practicality. Without her, everything became process, never feeling. He realizes this animal has cracked the stillness she left behind. Compassion feels awkward, yet he doesn't resist. When the dog finishes eating, it returns to the same position. The arrangement has shifted nonetheless. Feeding has turned watchfulness into something like trust. That night, Ethan wakes to unease he cannot name. The house is silent except for the hum of old air conditioning. He checks his phone out of habit. The time reads 2:17 a.m. A notification from the bakery's security system blinks red. Motion detected near the back door. He hesitates, thinking it's a glitch, then opens the camera feed. The screen shows a man in a hood working at the service entrance with a crowbar. The view trembles slightly with Ethan's hand. He dials 911, words short and clear.
The dispatcher promises units on the way. Ethan's breath steadies on command. Then, movement catches his eye again, the shepherd entering the frame, emerging from shadow like a trained professional. The dog advances in absolute control, no bark, no hesitation. The intruder doesn't notice until teeth close around his wrist. The crowbar clatters. What follows plays out with ruthless efficiency, captured on camera for the town that misjudged him.
By the time sirens appear, the man has fled, leaving tools behind. The dog remains between door and alley, scanning the space before collapsing from exhaustion. Ethan drives the short distance to Sweet Liberty, heart hammering with something between fear and pride. Sheriff Dale meets him under the neon sign. They kneel beside the animal, both seeing the blood along its side from the crowbar strike. Ethan presses his hand lightly against the fur, saying nothing. Dale studies the scene, then instructs him to pull the footage. Together they watch what the cameras recorded. A dog executing defense maneuvers too precise to be luck. "That's training," Dale murmurs, half to himself. He shakes his head, part disbelief, part admiration. Ethan feels guilt bloom alongside relief. The creature everyone condemned has protected them all along. The dog opens its eyes briefly when Ethan whispers gratitude, then slips back into uneasy rest. Morning finds Ethan back at the bakery, adrenaline replaced by responsibility. He calls the veterinarian, Dr. Emily, and explains in clipped phrases, injured stray, possible internal bleeding. She tells him to bring it in at once. Together they lift the animal onto her examination table. Emily's practiced calm softens when she sees the extent of the damage, old scars layered with fresh wounds. X-rays reveal shrapnel fragments along the ribs and a poorly healed break in the leg. Ethan listens as she catalogs injuries like history written on bone. "Whoever owned him didn't treat him kindly," she says. Ethan replies quietly that ownership might not be the right word. She cleans and stitches, prescribes antibiotics, and warns about cost. Ethan doesn't blink. Money seems irrelevant beside loyalty proven under fire. When they're done, the shepherd lies sedated, peaceful for the first time since appearing at his door.
While the dog rests, Ethan sits in the clinic's small waiting area, scrolling his phone. He searches terms he never thought to type: retired police dogs, military working dogs, service canine injuries. Headlines blur until one freezes him in place. The article shows a German shepherd receiving a medal 8 months earlier. The same amber eyes, the same scar above the brow. The caption names him Max. Ethan reads every line. Rescue during a tunnel collapse, multiple deployments, handler discharged after conflict with superiors, dog listed as unfit for service and lost during transport. The words scheduled for euthanasia stop him cold. He stares at the date and calculates distance from Fort Wuka to Millfield. A lost soldier had walked 80 miles to his bakery. The realization settles like heat. This wasn't coincidence, this was purpose continuing after command. Ethan prints the article, folds it once, and waits beside the sleeping dog who had saved him. When Max wakes, his eyes track Ethan's movement with quiet recognition. The connection feels unearned, yet absolute. Ethan speaks the name he read aloud, Max. The shepherd's ears twitch, head lifting despite fatigue. The tail moves once, faint but decisive. That single motion collapses weeks of misunderstanding into truth. Emily observes the exchange and smiles with tempered wonder. "He knows you said his name," she murmurs. Ethan only nods. Outside, dawn expands across the parking lot, indifferent and enormous. Inside, a man and a dog renegotiate the meaning of loyalty. Ethan pays the bill and carries Max to the truck himself. The drive back to the bakery feels longer than before. When he sets Max down on a folded blanket behind the counter, the space no longer feels like business premises. It feels like a station reclaimed. He whispers that he owes him more than bread and shelter. The dog closes his eyes, contented.
Word spreads through Millfield faster than truth can verify. Some refuse to believe the stray was a decorated military dog. Others embellish the tale into myth. Sheriff Dale reviews footage again, confirming details before gossip reshapes them. He tells Ethan that the intruder is linked to burglaries across nearby towns. Without Max's intervention, Sweet Liberty might have joined that list. The sheriff's respect is unspoken, but real. For the first time, Ethan sees approval rather than suspicion in official eyes. The town, however, lags behind its protectors. Carolyn still argues that the dog's presence invites danger. Ethan responds evenly the danger arrived before the dog did. The bakery door remains open each morning, and Max keeps watch beside it. Customers begin returning, drawn by curiosity that slowly turns to admiration. Fear erodes under proof. The dog who once divided the town now gathers it. Though he doesn't know it, he simply continues his duty. Days blend into routine again. Max heals slowly under Emily's supervision. Each morning he limps to his chosen position, tracking every movement around the bakery. Ethan no longer pretends detachment. He sets out water deliberately, adjusts shade when the sun shifts, and speaks small comments meant for himself but understood by both. The town's children pass with cautious wonder instead of fear. Tourists stop for photos. The story reshapes itself into redemption. Ethan notices details now. Max's gaze always follows delivery trucks, the same kind used by the intruder. Whenever an unfamiliar vehicle slows near the alley, the dog's body tenses. Ethan starts to share that vigilance, feeling the rhythm of protection settle into his bones. One morning he catches Max watching not the street, but him. The look isn't dependence, it's confirmation. Ethan realizes the dog's mission might never have been guarding the bakery alone. It might have been guarding the man inside.
Sheriff Dale arrives late one afternoon, carrying printouts from nearby businesses. He lays them on the counter, images of the same hooded man captured on other security cameras. In each frame, Max appears faintly in the background, positioned between stranger and doorway. Dale traces the timeline with his finger, impressed. He's been stopping break-ins for weeks, he says. Ethan feels both pride and shame. Pride for the dog's instinct, shame for doubting it so long. Dale warns that federal investigators may take interest if the suspect connects to wider crimes. Ethan accepts this with the weary patience of someone who has learned that systems move slower than animals. When the sheriff leaves, Ethan looks at the stack of photos again. Each one shows the same truth. The shepherd never faltered, never hesitated, never broke formation. Loyalty does not need orders when conviction remains intact. Ethan places the images under the counter, like sacred texts. Night settles without peace. Ethan sits beside Max's bed in the bakery, unable to shake a feeling that events are circling back toward confrontation. He reviews the printed article again, tracing lines about the handler named Jack, discharged under suspicion after reporting faulty equipment. If the military discarded both man and dog, someone likely wants that story buried. He remembers the captain's line in the article. Ajax is no longer fit for duty. The name doesn't matter, the betrayal does. He looks at Max and realizes the same loyalty that saved soldiers now anchors his bakery. The clock ticks past midnight. Somewhere outside, a car engine idles too long before moving on. Ethan doesn't mention it to Dale. He simply adjusts Max's blanket and waits for dawn. Heroes rarely choose their posts, he thinks. They find them. And when they do, even a small bakery in a forgotten town can become sacred ground.
Morning comes with tension that won't fade. Ethan opens early, hands steady though the weight in his chest remains. Sheriff Dale stops by for coffee and mentions the department is coordinating with state investigators. They've confirmed the burglar from Ethan's footage belongs to a larger network. Ethan listens but keeps glancing at Max, whose focus remains locked on the front door. The dog's limp has improved slightly. His gaze hasn't softened. Dale points at the screen over the counter. "Keep these cameras running. They're your witnesses." Ethan nods. After Dale leaves, he replays the security footage again, frame by frame. Max appears each time before danger, his movements intentional, tactical. Ethan realizes the dog isn't reacting, he's predicting. That kind of instinct isn't learned in streets, but in training. It dawns on him that whatever commands were once drilled into Max still pulse under his skin, waiting for a voice that no longer speaks. Dr. Emily returns for a checkup, carrying supplies and quiet satisfaction. She removes the stitches carefully, examining the leg's healed edge. "He'll limp, but he'll walk," she says. Ethan watches Max obey her gentle commands with calm precision. Every motion reinforces the idea that this isn't a random survivor, this is discipline remade into patience. Emily notices scars hidden beneath fur, thin, deliberate marks. "These weren't from battle," she murmurs. "Someone hit him." Ethan's stomach turns. Each injury reads like a line from an unspoken report. Emily suggests further testing, maybe blood work to see what damage lingers inside. Ethan agrees to everything. When she leaves, Max lies down beside the counter, eyelids heavy, but ears alert. The bakery feels less like a business and more like a checkpoint in a forgotten war. Ethan understands now that the shepherd has fought too many battles to be dismissed as stray. Every scar carries intention and betrayal.
Later that evening, Ethan searches again through online archives, tracing mentions of Max's former handler, Jack. Articles blur with bureaucratic phrasing, but one thread repeats: whistleblower, disciplinary hearing, sudden discharge. Ethan senses gaps, sentences clipped before revelation, paragraphs ending mid-thought. He pieces fragments together. Jack reported defective safety gear. Superiors silenced him. Ajax, the name Max once held, was removed from his care. 8 months later, the dog escaped. The word feels deliberate, chosen to conceal rather than explain. Ethan prints everything and files it in a binder labeled Records. He doesn't know what he'll do with it, only the truth demands witness. As he closes the binder, Max lifts his head, eyes catching Ethan's reflection. The man says quietly, "They left you behind." The dog watches without blinking. In that unspoken exchange, guilt transforms into purpose. Ethan realizes keeping Max safe might mean protecting evidence no one else knows exists. Dawn breaks with quiet revelation. Ethan kneels beside Max and repeats the name from the article. "Max," he says again, softly, as though reminding both of them who they are. The dog's reaction is instant. Ears rise, tail moves once, eyes brighten with recognition that carries emotion beyond instinct. It isn't merely that the dog knows his name, it's that he knows he's been found. Ethan exhales, shaken by the depth of the moment. For weeks he has guarded a ghost of loyalty. Now that loyalty stirs back to life. He whispers that things will change, that no one will hurt him again. Words seem inadequate, but promises often are. The shepherd lowers his head onto Ethan's knee, accepting without ceremony. Outside, light grows over the quiet town, touching the bakery sign. Inside, a man who lost faith in people and a dog betrayed by them begin a new alliance, grounded in simple recognition. Belonging returned.
The town's gossip engine doesn't rest. Photos circulate online showing Max lying proudly by the bakery door. Comments divide between sympathy and resentment. Ethan ignores the noise and focuses on routine. Yet inside, something shifts, guilt mixing with resolve. He prints a small sign, "Hero at work, please be kind." It hangs beside the counter where complaints once stacked. Sheriff Dale drops by to mention that higher authorities might contact him soon. Ownership of a military asset is complicated. Ethan replies that the dog's name is Max, not Asset. Dale smiles faintly, knowing resistance when he hears it. That night, Ethan dreams of Diane baking beside him, smiling as the shepherd rests by the door. When he wakes, he feels the first peace in years. Loyalty has re-entered his life wearing a wounded uniform. He resolves to honor it however the story ends. He doesn't yet realize how far that promise will reach. Maria, the widow of a retired dog trainer, visits after hearing whispers about the stray's true identity. She observes Max silently for several minutes, noting stance, breathing, and gaze. "He's guarding, not begging," she says finally. Ethan listens as she explains subtle tells of military obedience, weight distribution, ear position, timing of eye contact. This dog was trained for protection work, and he hasn't stopped. Her certainty rings like testimony. She adds that such dogs choose their posts carefully. They don't wander, they return. Ethan thanks her, though he already senses the truth. Maria leaves him with a final thought. When animals like him fix on someone, it's because they see purpose. You give him one. That evening, Ethan sits with Max and repeats the phrase until it feels real. Purpose. Maybe they're saving each other. The world outside remains suspicious. Inside Sweet Liberty, loyalty and grief have begun to bake into something stronger.
The transformation spreads quietly. Customers who once crossed the street now bring treats. Sandra's students draw pictures of the brave bakery dog. Even Carolyn, grudgingly, buys pastries and leaves meat scraps behind. Ethan watches it unfold without comment. Sheriff Dale jokes that Max has better approval ratings than most officials. The laughter hides unease, because Ethan knows peace rarely lasts. The dog's scars are fading, but tension lingers in every new vehicle that slows near the curb. He keeps security footage archived and backup drives locked away. Emily visits weekly, documenting progress, reassuring Ethan that recovery is stable. Yet every time the door opens unexpectedly, Max lifts his head, eyes sharp. Healing doesn't erase vigilance. Ethan begins to mirror that behavior, glancing over shoulders, scanning reflections. They have become a pair shaped by watchfulness, an unspoken partnership built from injury and redemption. The town sees a mascot. Ethan sees a soldier still on duty. One afternoon, while cleaning the floor near Max's bed, Ethan notices a raised patch of scar tissue along the dog's ribs. It doesn't match the shrapnel lines Emily described earlier. He calls her, and she examines it under better light. The mark isn't from battle. It's deliberate, recent, inflicted with precision. Her brow furrows. Someone hit him after he returned from service, she concludes. The implication cuts deeper than Ethan expects. It means neglect or cruelty within the system that claimed to protect heroes like Max. Emily advises documentation. She takes photos, writes notes, promises discretion. When she leaves, Ethan feels anger simmer under the calm surface of his routine. Betrayal breeds defiance. The dog that once symbolized brokenness now embodies quiet rebellion. Ethan strokes Max's head and says nothing, but his expression hardens. The bakery's warmth hides a man preparing for conflict. If the system failed this animal once, it won't again.
That evening, Maria stops by again, carrying an old folder her late husband kept. Inside are sketches of training formations and command charts for protection dogs. Ethan studies them, recognizing Max's behaviors among the patterns, guard angles, sentinel postures, proximity awareness of her words. Max isn't waiting for someone. He has already chosen. They stand together by the window, watching dusk crawl across Main Street. Maria adds, "Dogs like him rarely survive retirement. They lose purpose and fade. You gave him a post again." Ethan nods, grateful but worried. Posts attract attention. Orders attract superiors. Somewhere out there, paperwork still lists Max as property. The thought chills him more than the evening air. He thanks Maria, locks up, and whispers to the dog, "They'll come looking someday." The tail thumps once in answer. Weeks pass in uneasy calm, until one morning a black SUV parks across the street. Two figures in uniform step out, precise posture, mirrored sunglasses. Ethan knows before they speak. The taller one introduces herself as Captain Laura from Fort Huachuca's Canine Division. Her tone is practiced authority. "We've traced a missing military dog," she says. "We believe you have him." Ethan answers that the dog isn't missing. He's found. Laura's gaze flickers toward Max, who meets it steadily, no fear, only recognition of command. The captain explains that Max remains government property and must be returned for assessment. The bakery's customers sense tension and slip out quietly. Ethan's response is calm but final. He's not property. Laura replies that refusing cooperation could lead to charges. The words hang heavy in the flower-scented air. Behind the counter, Max watches both faces, waiting for whichever voice he'll obey, authority or conscience. The choice will define them all.
Captain Laura's presence transforms the bakery's warmth into interrogation. Ethan stands steady behind the counter, arms folded. Sheriff Dale enters midway through the conversation, uniform dusted for morning patrol. He reads the tension immediately. Laura shows identification, crisp, unbending. Dale reviews it with practiced slowness before meeting Ethan's eyes. "You two can settle this later," he says, tone even. "Right now, this is a small-town business, not a base." Laura insists she has orders. Dale counters that she'll need local coordination before acting. Bureaucracy, used as shield. Laura leaves, promising to return with proper paperwork. As the SUV drives off, Dale exhales. "They'll be back," he warns. Ethan nods. He registers Max that afternoon at Town Hall under civilian ownership. New name, new records, vaccinations up to date. Paperwork becomes armor. By nightfall, the bakery feels fortified again. Max rests by the door, unaware of laws written to claim him. Loyalty doesn't understand jurisdiction. Ethan knows the reprieve won't last. He reviews the article on his phone, rereading lines about Jack, the discharged handler. The details feel incomplete, like pieces withheld. Maybe that's why the military wants Max back, to erase the evidence living in his scars. He copies all digital files onto a flash drive and hides it under a loose floorboard near the counter. The simple act steadies him. Late in the day, Dale returns with quiet warning. "If they come with papers, I can't stop them, but I can slow them." Ethan thanks him. They share the understanding of men who've served different wars, one with grief, one with bureaucracy. When Dale leaves, Ethan looks at Max and realizes he's preparing for siege, not rescue. The dog senses it too. Their world shrinks to the space between door and counter, where law meets conscience, where promises matter more than rules. Resistance has found its quiet form.
Night brings another dream of Diane. She stands by the oven, smiling the same way she did before illness hollowed her face. "Some things," she says, "deserve saving even when they cost you." He wakes before the sound of her voice fades. The bakery is still, the air heavy with pre-dawn heat. Max sleeps nearby, chest rising steadily. Ethan sits in the dark, thinking of loss as a kind of apprenticeship in loyalty. At sunrise, he makes coffee strong enough to carry through whatever comes next. The first customer's arrival feels ordinary again, almost peaceful. For a few hours, life resumes its practiced rhythm. He knows better than to trust peace. When he glances outside, a vehicle idles briefly at the curb. A different SUV this time, tinted windows. It moves on, but not far. Surveillance has begun. Ethan finishes the day's last batch and locks up early. Some storms announce themselves by waiting. Sheriff Dale returns the next morning with an update. Captain Laura filed a formal request for local cooperation. The paper sits on Dale's desk, unsigned. "I can delay a few days. After that, my hands are tied." Ethan listens, jaw tight. "They want a dog. I owe him a home."
Dale studies him quietly. "You've already chosen your side. Just be ready for what that means." He leaves without further advice. The bakery fills with silence thicker than heat. Ethan feels the shape of the fight settling in around him. He restocks shelves, cleans equipment, keeps routine as armor against dread. Max senses tension, following him closely, shadow for shadow. When night falls, Ethan positions a chair near the front window and stays there, watching the street. He understands now that loyalty demands endurance. Every minute of calm feels borrowed, every sound outside a possible knock on his door.
By the second evening, unease becomes certainty. Another vehicle parks across the street, engine off but occupied. Ethan sees the faint outline of movement inside. He turns off interior lights, leaving only the soft glow of the display case. From the floor, Max watches, head low, eyes reflecting faint light. "Stay," Ethan whispers, out of habit, not command. Hours pass, the car remains. At midnight, it finally drives away. Ethan exhales but doesn't sleep. At dawn, he takes Max for a brief walk along the alley, keeping to shade. The dog limps less now, strength returning. A stray cat darts past, and Max halts, disciplined restraint where instinct might chase. That control reassures Ethan more than words. When they return, he sees fresh tire marks by the curb. Observation continues. Whoever wants Max hasn't given up, but neither has he. The bakery may not survive the coming test. Some causes outgrow livelihood. The following day, Ethan finds a letter taped to the door, a printed notice bearing military insignia, informing him of imminent retrieval of classified property. He tears it down before customers arrive. Word spreads anyway. Small towns feed on drama. By noon, every patron knows someone's coming for the dog. Reactions divide between outrage and resignation. Sandra brings cookies for the guardian. Carolyn calls it a liability. Ethan ignores both. He spends the afternoon backing up more footage, labeling files, ensuring the truth survives beyond confiscation. Max senses the shift and stays closer than usual, eyes following each motion. Sheriff Dale calls around dusk. "Convoy's on the move from Fort Wuka. You've got 40 minutes. Ethan hangs up, feeling calm settle over fear like glaze over bread. He kneels, rests a hand on Max's head, and says, "No matter what happens, you did your duty." The dog watches, steady as ever. The countdown begins.
Time dilates in waiting. Ethan cleans surfaces already spotless. Each tick of the wall clock sounds like rehearsal for confrontation. He checks locks, lights, exits, though he knows resistance will not be physical. When he looks at Max, the dog meets his gaze with quiet comprehension. Loyalty doesn't need language. At 20 minutes out, Dale calls again, saying he'll intercept them briefly at the highway turnoff. "Buy you a little space," he says. Ethan thanks him. 10 minutes later, the bell above the door rings. Dr. Emily arrives carrying her medical bag. "I heard," she says. "If they try to take him, they'll answer for his injuries." Her voice is sharp, controlled. She sets her bag on the counter, ready for confrontation disguised as care. The three of them wait together as the sun slides lower, shadows stretching long across the bakery floor. Justice often moves slow, but confrontation never waits long. The first siren comes not from the highway, but from Ethan's security system. The back alarm blares, motion detected inside the storage area. Sheriff Dale's convoy hasn't yet arrived. Ethan's heart slams against his ribs. Emily starts toward the door, but Max moves first. Transformation instant. The relaxed companion becomes a trained sentinel. He positions himself between noise and people, stance measured, eyes narrowed. The crash of breaking wood confirms intrusion. 3 masked figures spill into the main room, weapons drawn. "Nobody move," one shouts. Chaos floods the space. Customers freeze mid-bite. Carolyn screams. Ethan's body acts before thought. He ducks behind the counter, reaching for the panic button. Max launches forward, jaws clamping the gunman's wrist, driving him back. The gun drops. Another attacker raises a knife. Ethan shouts, useless. Emily steadies herself, unflinching. Time fractures into seconds. What happens next will redefine bravery for everyone watching.
The knife flashes once, then again. Max pivots, forcing the first man down while evading the blade. Sheriff Dale bursts through the rear entrance, weapon drawn. "Police! Drop it!" His command meets chaos. The second intruder lunges. Dale fires a warning shot. Emily grabs a nearby chair and blocks a third robber's path toward the door. The scene unfolds like choreography, precision born of survival. Max maintains hold until the gunman collapses. Then the knife finds him, slicing into his shoulder. He doesn't yelp. He turns, presses forward, disarms the attacker by sheer weight of will. Blood stains the floor. Dale cuffs the last conscious robber, shouting for backup. Ethan rushes to Max, who stands trembling but upright. The dog's eyes lock on him, unbroken even through pain. Emily kneels, applying pressure to the wound. Outside, sirens wail nearer. Inside, silence claims the room except for one heavy breath after another. Dr. Emily's verdict is immediate. He needs a clinic now. She rips fabric for a makeshift bandage as Dale calls dispatch. Ethan gathers Max in his arms, ignoring blood soaking his apron. The dog's weight feels both fragile and immense. As he carries him outside, a convoy screeches to a halt, black SUVs with military markings. Captain Laura exits first, ready to issue orders, then stops short at the sight of the wounded animal. "He's been stabbed," Ethan says, voice hoarse. "I'm taking him to Emily's clinic." Laura pauses only a moment before speaking into her radio. "K9 officer down, initiate medevac." Within minutes, soldiers assist Emily, loading Max into a vehicle. Ethan climbs in beside them without asking permission. Laura meets his eyes. The authority in her voice softens. "He's your dog. Stay with him." The convoy departs with sirens blaring. Duty and defiance now travel the same road toward the uncertain dawn.
The convoy races through empty stretches of highway toward Fort Vuca's medical wing. Inside the transport, Ethan holds Max steady while Emily monitors vitals. Blood loss slows but doesn't stop. Captain Laura rides opposite, expression unreadable. Ethan's anger simmers just below restraint. "He protected civilians," he says. Laura nods, "and now he'll get the care he earned." The words sound official, but her tone isn't. She sees the scars along the dog's ribs and the crusted stitches of older wounds. Her authority falters beneath visible guilt. When they reach the base gates, soldiers wave them through. Floodlights flare. Medics lift Max onto a gurney, moving him into a sterile corridor that smells of bleach and urgency. Ethan follows despite protocol. No one stops him. For once, rules bend toward mercy. Behind glass, surgeons prepare. The animal lies perfectly still, not from weakness but obedience. Even bleeding, Max waits for permission to rest. Hours dissolve into mechanical rhythm, doors swinging, voices clipped, instruments clattering. Ethan watches through the observation window, fists pressed against the frame. Emily joins him, her face pale with fatigue. Captain Laura stands behind them, silent, motionless. The surgery stretches longer than expected. Each minute redefines faith. Ethan remembers every injustice this creature absorbed without retaliation. Rocks, suspicion, bureaucracy, blades, all endured without sound. He wonders if silence is what loyalty becomes when pain exceeds threshold. Finally, a nurse steps out, removing her mask. "He's stable," she says. "He'll need rest, but he'll live." Ethan's knees nearly buckled with relief. Laura exhales audibly, muttering something about debts that can't be repaid. Emily smiles faintly, eyes wet. The hallway brightens with collective release. For the first time since the first rock hit, peace feels possible. Fragile, but real. Behind the door, Max breathes evenly. Body still anchored to duty, even in sleep.
Morning casts sterile light
through the recovery room. Ethan sits by Max's bed, exhausted yet alert. Machines beep steady rhythms, each sound confirmation of survival. Laura enters quietly, now dressed in plain clothes, no insignia. She hands Ethan a folder. Inside are papers stamped declassified, records of Max's final mission, the one that went wrong. "He wasn't supposed to die," she says softly, but orders changed. His handler protested, so they buried the evidence. Ethan scans pages detailing false reports and accidental injuries. "Why tell me?" he asks. Laura answers, "Because you're the only one he trusts now, and people will listen to you." The admission bridges the gap between authority and accountability. Ethan nods slowly. Outside the window, sun climbs higher. Inside, truth begins rewriting its own file. The war that shaped Max has ended in ink, but the battle for decency continues wherever loyalty outlives command. Sheriff Dale visits that afternoon, wearing a clean uniform for the first time in weeks. He shakes Ethan's hand, then strokes the sleeping dog's head. "You know, this town needed a story like his. Reminds us who we are when fear takes over." Ethan thanks him. Dale places a file on the bedside table, police reports, witness statements, and camera stills from the robbery. "Proof he wasn't the threat," Dale says. "Let's make sure everyone sees it." Emily adds her medical notes, documenting every healed wound, each scar that predates Ethan's care. The folder grows heavy with collective redemption. Laura promises to deliver it to public affairs at Fort Wuka. "No more cover-ups," she says. For once, each person in the room aligns on the same side of truth. Max shifts in his sleep, breathing deep as if sensing that peace has been formally entered into record.
When Max wakes, hours later, Ethan is still there. The dog lifts his head, eyes cloudy with medication, but recognition sharp. Ethan whispers, "You did it." No theatrics, just fact. Max licks his hand once before settling again. Outside, reporters gather beyond the base gates. Word has leaked. The story of a stray turned savior spreads faster than any official statement. Ethan doesn't care for spectacle. He only wants recovery. Yet part of him understands that visibility protects what secrecy once endangered. Laura approaches with news. Max will be retired with full honors. "He's free," she says. Ethan repeats the word like testing its weight. Free. The concept sounds fragile, maybe temporary, but it's enough for now. Freedom, after all, is just loyalty unshackled from command. He leans closer to Max and adds quietly, "We go home soon." The dog's tail taps once against the bedding. Agreement sealed without ceremony. 2 days later, Fort Wuka hosts a small ceremony. Soldiers, local officials, townspeople, and reporters gather under a sun that feels too bright for solemnity. Captain Laura reads from a citation detailing acts of service, missions completed, lives saved, injuries endured. Each line restores something bureaucracy tried to erase. Ethan stands beside Max, who wears a simple harness marked "Retired." Sheriff Dale gives a short speech about courage found in unexpected places. Applause swells, genuine rather than polite. For once, the town's eyes hold gratitude instead of judgment. Emily wipes at tears she doesn't hide. When the event ends, Laura hands Ethan official release papers, transferring custody permanently. "He's yours," she says. The phrase carries more weight than the medals laid out on the table. Ethan kneels, presses his forehead to Max, and says, "We're going home." The crowd watches a man and a dog reclaim peace the world nearly denied them.
Sweet Liberty Bakery reopens a week later. The new sign reads, "Home of Max, the Guardian." Customers fill tables, some to buy bread, some to say thank you. Ethan moves through the routine as if nothing changed, though everything has. Sheriff Dale drops by for his usual coffee. "Feels good seeing crowds again," he remarks. Ethan agrees but keeps eyes on Max resting by the door. The dog's posture is relaxed, but ready, calm in purpose. Emily visits to check his healing wound. Maria brings fresh flowers. Life layers itself back together with modest grace. Outside, children press noses to glass to glimpse the famous shepherd. Inside, Ethan catches his reflection and hardly recognizes the man he was months ago. Fear has burned away, leaving steadiness behind. The town that once threw stones now guards its guardian. Forgiveness, it seems, can be taught without words, only example and time. Weeks turn to months. The bakery thrives. The legend of Max travels beyond county lines. Travelers stop to take pictures beside the awning where he once stood watch. Ethan accepts the attention with humility. At night, when the lights dim and doors lock, he sits on the step beside the dog. The town sleeps peacefully. Ethan studies the horizon, wondering if safety is ever permanent. He decides it doesn't need to be. Safety is renewed daily by the choices people make, to protect rather than accuse, to feed rather than strike. He thinks of Diane again, of her voice urging kindness as duty. He whispers that he's trying. Max leans lightly against his leg. The silence between them is comfortable now, a conversation in itself. For the first time in years, Ethan believes redemption isn't a story's ending, but its maintenance. Something lived quietly, day after day, beside whoever remains.
News arrives one morning that Jack, Max's original handler, has returned from overseas. He drives into town unannounced, parking outside the bakery. The reunion unfolds without spectacle. Jack kneels beside Max, whispering words only the dog understands. The shepherd responds with recognition shaped by time, but not forgotten loyalty. Ethan watches from the doorway, unsure whether to step forward. Jack rises and offers his hand. "You saved what they tried to destroy," he says. Ethan shakes it, sensing relief in both of them. Over coffee, Jack explains the full cover-up, the failed mission, his protest, the punishment. They used him to bury evidence, he admits. Ethan listens in silence. Truth no longer shocks him. It only confirms everything Max already proved, that obedience without conscience is just cruelty in uniform. When Jack leaves, Max returns to his usual spot by the door. The past has finally met the present, and both can rest. A year passes. The Rehabilitation Center stands on the outskirts of Millfield, built by donations from towns across the state. Its sign reads, "The Guardian Foundation, for Dogs of Service." Ethan, Jack, Emily, and Maria oversee its work together. Retired canines find homes instead of cages, purpose instead of abandonment. On opening day, crowds gather again. Reporters ask for statements. Ethan gives none. Instead, he gestures toward Max, lying under a tree, scars hidden beneath thickened fur. The dog's gaze surveys the new grounds as if ensuring all is secure. Sheriff Dale calls it perfect symmetry, the protector finally protected. As evening falls, Ethan locks the bakery one last time and drives to the center. He sits beside Max in the fading light, whispering gratitude too quiet for cameras. Some stories end in silence because words cannot hold them. The town breathes easier. The guardian watches. Peace, at last, stays.